With Tower of Fantasy flopping, Genshin Impact getting 3 wishes, Honkai Star Rail giving out free tempos for just sneezing, Wuthering Waves seems to be this saving grace for many gacha players, especially refugees who aren't happy with Genshin Impact. And so far, they've done a great job at setting up expectations and building up hype for their game. So here are 5 things that I am looking forward to in Wuthering Waves as someone who plays Genshin Impact. Number 1. Artifacts, known as echoes in this game, do not take resin, which is energy here to farm. This means that all that resin spent rolling for artifacts in Genshin isn't here. You can farm the open world for the proper main stats on the proper echo that you want. You can also hop into a friend's world to make these go faster and double your chances of getting what you want. This already has so many advantages to it, as you still have the RNG elements of rolling bad stats, but being able to just hop in and do this whenever, without having to spend an external limited resource that can be spent elsewhere, does make this beneficial to me. I don't mind having to grind for the stats, but what I do mind is feeling like I'm forced to spend my resin daily in order for me to not feel like I'm doing a disservice to my account. In Honkai Star Rail, there's an overflow system, where if your stamina is full, it'll go into a little storage that you can use later. It's fantastic. While I'm not sure if Wuthering Waves will add something like this in the future, I like that I can farm these echoes whenever I want. I can go at my own pace. If I want to spend just an entire day grinding them out, then I'm able to. This allows me to spend my energy on other materials like ascension and talents, things that are guaranteed to make me and my characters stronger. Now, there is a caveat. In order to level these echoes, you do need a resource which requires you to use your energy. And once you kill all the enemies in your world, which is a lot, it will take into the next day's cycle for them to respawn. So that's when I would switch worlds, hop into a friend's, and we would do this all over again. But as long as it has the right base stats for me, I think this system will be a lot more doable. Number 2, the combat in Wuthering Waves looks amazing. This is something that I think Tower of Fantasy had over Genshin, and that's the fluidity of combat and the feeling of freedom. Wuthering Waves to me seems like it takes from both of these games and combines them. These characters are very acrobatic. They're not stiff like in Genshin. There's verticality amongst their moves. It's not just the basic attack, skill, and ultimate. We have parries here. Dodges actually matter. One of the best feelings in any game is timing that perfect parry. The feeling is great in Dark Souls with their shields and swords, and even Tower of Fantasy's perfect dodge. Getting that time freeze on an enemy for the first time was such a rush of dopamine. Enemies feel reactive here. Parrying breaks their cycle of attack and switches things up. In Wuthering Waves, we have our standard basic attack, skill, ultimate, but additionally, we have the Resonator skill set, which uses different combos, dishes out different moves with different damage numbers. I love when the combat feels like a dance. I love the back and forth, the struggle, the fear of death. Games like Absolver where the combat is very dynamic and one enemy can really test you. The Soul series, Sekiro, and I feel like Wuthering Waves will really test you, especially the bosses. This combat system, along with how the enemy AI works, really makes me believe that this game will have a lot of depth, and for those such as myself who want to master it, there will be challenges. Number 3. The gacha system. Now, the game still needs to make its money. However, there are some nice improvements here. The big one, we're getting a free 5-star selector. This is huge. Now, of course, standard banner character, but the standard units are looking to be real nice. Now, once we get more limited banners, I'm sure they won't be top tier, but for right now, getting one for just playing the game and using the free pools, this is going to be a nice bump for our early game experience. But honestly, I'm more excited for the weapon banner. The featured weapon will always be guaranteed within 80 pulls. That's right, guaranteed weapon. No 70-30, no 50-50, 25-80, no lose-lose. You just get it within 80 pulls. Guys, I have always been someone who swayed away from weapons and focused more on the constellations. But I can't lie, this is tempting. We will have to wait and see with the official release and as more and more characters come out to see how much these weapons really help, comparing the free-to-play weapons and the limited run weapons with each other. But 80 pulls and guarantee, that's a bonus. Plus in the shop, you're able to buy monthly pulls that refresh. So if you're a consistent player, you'll get a weapon if you want it within reason. Now, of course, the limited character banner is still a 50-50 shot, but given how generous the game seems so far, I think it'll be okay. Number 4, the daily commission system. I am so tired of talking to NPCs that have no significance to the world, or dailies which require me to go out of my way to complete them. After playing Honkai Star Rail, I've been spoiled by dailies being tasks that are implemented throughout the world in the game systems, like spending your stamina. I'm really glad that Wuthering Waves is taking a similar approach to their dailies. It looks like it's basing itself on Punishing Grey Raven's dailies, which follow the simple in and out format, where we're given a bunch of tasks that grant us points. It's basically killing specific hordes of mobs or standard tasks that we should already be doing, like leveling up weapons, cooking to attain buffs, or killing a boss. This makes my overall experience in the game much nicer, as some days I do simply want to run the dailies and spend my energy without needing to jump through hoops or break my back. And while Genshin has a system similar to this, it's not on the same level as convenience as Wuthering Waves or Star Rail. Number 5, we have exploration. Now, I am burnt out of exploring in Genshin, and I don't do it a whole lot in Star Rail. And Tower of Fantasy was mid, but it did give a lot of free standard banner pulls. However, the thing with Wuthering Waves exploration is that the characters themselves are fun to run around with. As I stated earlier, acrobatics is such a huge factor for me in how a character moves. Are they stiff and slow, or do they feel light and able to move around quickly? Not only does the running look more fluid, but we have the ability to parkour, run up walls, backflip, front flip, titties bouncing in our faces. It's all such good quality. We're even granted the use of a grappling hook. While I hope there's a way to reduce the cooldown, I really like how we feel agile and how seamless it flows with the combat. Even specific echoes allow us to transform and move even faster throughout the open world. This makes me want to run around and explore. And they've built the environment around such mechanics, giving us tall skyscrapers to run up, insane towers to leap from, objects we can grapple to and interact with. Not only this, but the rewards for exploring seem to be a bit more generous as well. While the world might not be as vibrant as Genshin, it certainly seems more entertaining. If the movement itself is fun, then exploring can be too. Overall, I'm very excited for Wuthering Waves, and I think it's good that we're getting more games in this genre, because Genshin is fun, but seeing more variety and different takes on different games is going to be even better, and I hope Wuthering Waves succeeds.